Hello everyone, this is Gary here. Today I want to talk about a project I've been working on. It's called BasicMVC. Basically it's a framework that's really lightweight but yet powerful that allow you to build websites from scratch really easily. Today I want to show you how to install it and get it up and running on your server. Very easy actually. This is actually the Sourceforge project, which you can download it from here, which I already have it downloaded. I guess it's okay, I'll download it again. And once you have it downloaded, go ahead and open up the zip file, and you want to extract this somewhere on your computer. I'll just download it into, I guess, in my documents folder. And there we go. Okay, once this has been downloaded into your documents or wherever you want to download it, our next step would be to upload it to the server. I use FileZilla for FTP, which is actually a really great application. Just gonna go ahead and skip that new version. Okay, once we're inside of our FileZilla web server, we want to go ahead and create a new directory. This will be where the basic MVC will lay down. So me myself, I'm just going to be writing the basic MVC website. This is going to be basically the video series that I show you guys is how easy it is to build a website, and what better is it than to write the project's website using the actual project. So I'm going to create this, and once we have it created, we got to go ahead and find it and copy the contents over. It'll take a minute or so, depending on your internet connection, to upload this content. And while that's uploading, I guess we'll log into the server and we'll start creating the actual subdomain for this. Okay, the subdomain's been created, and we now have our files on our server. But we're still missing one thing. We need our database. So let's go ahead and create our database. And for our database user, we want to go ahead and assign all of our privileges, give it all the privileges we can, and we'll go back home. Now we're actually done within our cPanel interface, or if you have Plesk or whatever you're using, we're actually done with that. So now that we have everything created, we want to go ahead and set up the project within our IDE. You can use JEdit. I prefer NetBeans IDE, but you can use anything you want. So we'll go ahead and create a new project. Get rid of this. wait for NetBeans to load. Sometimes it's slow on this kind of stuff. And we'll go ahead and download all the files within our NetBeans project. This may take a little bit, again depending on your internet connection and how fast your computer is, because NetBeans is a resource intensive application. And while this is loading, we can go ahead and test out our subdomain just to make sure everything executes nicely. Looks like I got a couple of warnings there. Just database errors, saying that we hadn't tied anything in yet. And I guess for tutorial sakes, I'll go change my database password to something that I can show you guys. And it still looks like we're downloading. Okay, it looks like our system finally finished downloading. NetBeans looks like it's scanning the project. I guess while it's scanning, we can go ahead and go over what the how the router file actually works and how we can change different settings in order to allocate for certain things. By default, BasicMVC compresses every piece of code it outputs to the browser. This allows us to save bandwidth on the server and things like that. You can actually turn off and on that compression using the compression, the comp off command, which any command that you see in BasicMVC will be / comp off, and that turns off compression, and comp on actually turns compression back on. We have several other commands. I'll go over those as we come to them. So the basic thing we want to go ahead and do is we want to go ahead and set up our configuration files. So we would go into our core and then our config file. This is different configuration values based on what you want. Let's go ahead and configure this installation of BasicMVC to read from our database. Okay, that's our database configuration values, and if we refresh, our error will go away. But this page is supposed to be doing one more thing. Let's see what our error log is showing, and it looks like our server responded with a 404 error on our scripts directory. Okay, let's go ahead and make sure that the whole system uploaded. So inside of our cPanel, we can go into our file manager, which any web host should come with that. We have our assets folder, our JS folder, and it looks like it did not upload correctly. There should be a lot more folders. So let's go into our system here, and let's go into our BasicMVC folder, wherever it went. And as we see here, the download was incomplete, which is awesome because I am the actual developer of BasicMVC, so I have all of everything here, which is actually right here. And our BasicMVC folder. Make sure to overwrite these if you actually got an installation that was kind of corrupt. I'll go ahead and go into Sourceforge and fix that tonight. And since all the correct files are now uploaded, let's go refresh this page, and we should have a more useful page. Okay, now let's go into our configuration. I don't have to download this again since I already have all the code, and you may have to if you want to get all the JavaScript class names and all that. inside of your NetBeans installation, it's preferred to go ahead and download that. But I'm not going to do that since I already know what's all there. So let's go ahead and continue configuring this to what we need. I'm going to go ahead and keep dev mode to true since we're still in a development mode. We'll go ahead and define our web root to home 2. This will be your web root. Your web host should give you that. And BasicMVC. And our domain. And our site name. Since we don't have our SSL certificate, we're not going to require SSL, but we want to go ahead and disallow SSL since I don't have a certificate for this domain. We can go ahead and allow or disallow certain flags. I'm going to go ahead and allow every flag and our encryption keys and things like that. I actually usually go to a website that generates these. It's called randomkeygen.com. I want to go ahead and grab some CodeIgniter 256-bit encryption keys. Now you can use any key here that you want. I just prefer using the CodeIgniter because it's 256 bits and it's fast. So we'll go in and we'll want to use a different key for all of this. And I actually know that this website don't generate enough keys. So if we just refresh the page, we'll come up with a different list of keys. And our cron key, we'll just go ahead and get a encryption key for the cron key since we want something special that nobody will know. And that's going to be very hard to guess. I'll come across the cron file a lot later in this tutorial because it does some pretty complex things and you only have to have one cron configuration in your web host. Okay, now our script is actually completely set up to run on our web host. You see it's reading from the variables. We'll go ahead and turn compression off just to show you the flag. And compression is turned off. And we'll turn it back on just to verify it works. Okay, also there is another flag here that I want to show you. I'll turn compression back off. And this flag is actually the reset mode. So anytime, say like you enter the admin mode or the compression mode and the development mode, or you actually enter a bunch of different modes and you don't know which ones you entered and you just want to reset everything back to defaults, use reset mode. It does all that automatically for you. Okay, our compression's back on. If you remember, we turned it off before. Okay, so now what we want to go ahead and do is we want to go ahead and create our basic web page. In our controllers, under our site directory, inside of our controllers folder, we want to go ahead and create one called main. Okay, the main controller is basically the home page. This is the first file that your website will look for. We want to open up in PHP tags, and on this this project, everything you build will be completely in classes. So we're wanting to go ahead and create a class, and we'll call it main, and we want to extend our main controller. Okay, so basically when we extend our main controller, I'll show it to you. It loads all of our dependencies, such as our sessions, database connections, and our main database object. It loads all those automatically, and it gives us more of a function set, which will give us more of a flexibility in our programming. Okay, so what we want to go ahead and do is we want to go ahead and give it a function index. Okay, so this will be our home page of our website. So the first thing the web server will look for is our main controller, and within our main controller it'll look for the index function. Matter of fact, if you just say domain.com/controller name and you don't give it a function, it'll look for the index function. So we want to go ahead and load a view. To go ahead and put some HTML out on the page, and we'll go ahead and call main/index. So within our main index, we'll have to create a new folder in our views folder, call it main, and then inside of our main folder we want to create a new file called index, and we'll just go into HTML from here. Okay, so we created our HTML, and if we refresh our page, all we get is our under development page. Okay, the under development page is just there, that way we can tell everybody that the website is under development. But what if you want to see what you're working on while you're working on it? There's a flag for that actually. If you type in / enter dev, then it puts you in your development mode. This will tell the route file, I don't care if development mode's turned on, we'll override it. And I see that I have an HTML error, and if I view source, everything is still compressed. So I want to turn off compression. Now that we have compression off, we're still in development mode, and we can still turn off compression. So we have multiple flags set at this point. So now that we have all these flags set, we can see what we're working on a lot easier. So we want to create a div element here, and close the div, and our div is what we want to give the margin of auto for. So on our body we'll give the margin of 0 pixels, and on our div we'll give the margin of auto. Now that we have the margin of auto, our page should be aligned to the center, which is not, which is crazy. So we'll say text align center, and we'll give this div a width of 500 pixels. And there we go. And now that we've done that, we still have our compression turned off. We're still in our development mode. And now that we're done with our development mode, let's reset our mode. Now that turns back on code compression, and it gives us our under development page. This has been the first episode of the Basic MVC setup series of building a website with the Basic MVC framework. I'll go ahead and put a link in the description of how to download this framework, and I'll go ahead and correct this this build and put the correct files for our assets directory. Anyway, my name's Gary Mathis, the developer of the 4 network. You guys have a great day.